Alright guys, welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Battlefield. I'm your boy, Echo Limits, and with me today I have Flakfire.
Hey everyone, it's Flakfire, online youtube.com/Flakfire Gaming and twitch.com/Flakfire.
Awesome. And we've got my boy Mambo B.
Hello everyone, happy Sunday. Welcome to another podcast. I'm Mambo B on Twitch TV.
And like I said, I'm Echo Limits, EKOLIMITS, your host for the Let's Talk Battlefield podcast. Today we don't have Izzy with us, so it's going to be a little bit of a shorter show. However, we still got a lot to talk about. This is episode 21, guys. Episode 21. I can't believe how many episodes we've done already. But Battlefield's still kicking, and so does the podcast. Just as it is customary, I'm going to give you guys a quick rundown in the beginning of the three topics, since there's three of us, and then at the end we'll do listener mail, and we're going to do questions with the audience that's live watching this on the channel. So first off, our first topic is what can DICE do better to connect with the community? You know, the next one will be how can we make operations a better game mode? And the last one is, I don't know if you guys heard, lots of CTE changes. A huge amount of changes, especially since we haven't talked on the podcast for like it's almost been a month, guys. And crazy, right?
Right.
Has been a while.
Well, I sure as heck been playing a lot of Battlefield, even though, you know, we haven't sat down to talk about it. So that being said, I think we can go straight into the topics. Ladies and gentlemen, our first topic is from Mambo. Mambo, what are you bringing us today?
Yeah, off to my brainstorming, I was thinking about when I watched the last DICE live stream, and I was like, okay, that's interesting. I don't really know their schedule, but I was thinking, what could DICE do to better connect with the gaming community, whether it's through the stream community, through the, they got this Friday night Battlefield thing sometimes the devs go to. What could DICE do to better connect with the community? And I just wanted to bounce it off you, Echo, and Flak. And since Flak, you're pretty connected with the guys over there at DICE, what do you think they could do better to get everybody involved with the game that we love?
You know that's an interesting the way you said it too. Like it's like because I did the same thing. You know, I follow Battlefield's Twitch channel and I get their notifications, and just randomly, like I never know when they're gonna stream. It's still really awesome that they do stream. Like when you think back to the Battlefield 4 days, Battlefield 3 days. I myself, as a gamer, as like an avid Battlefielder, you know what I mean? I'm like a super fan of the whole thing. I never even tuned into their videos, YouTube trailers, maybe sometimes. But like nowadays, they do so much better. But is that enough? I really think you're on a right point there. Like they probably have to do better. Twitter, they're active on Twitter, which is nice. But how many Battlefielders are on Twitter? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I like that they're bringing game changers to their live streams. That's to me like a huge thing. You know, you got to bring the community people right on that camera, and like so we get our input. You know, anybody. It's really cool that they're also bringing small streamers. You don't have to be like a level cap 2.5 million subs. You know, they brought on a girl. She only had like 2,000 followers. I mean, that's amazing. The fact that someone who plays Battlefield can sit there and not have a huge channel and be able to just talk about it. That to me was like, wow, that's cool. But you know, as long as they're bringing real Battlefield fans and we're having that discussion, I think the stream's been good.
Yeah.
That was my first take of just like, what can they do better? That's a hard question though, fellas.
It is a difficult question. At the same point, like a lot of it is, right in front of them in terms of, you've got the community. Community is quite vocal. It says, hey, we want this, we want that. I think they're doing, some people disagree because they have the whole, I don't want them to give premium content away because I paid for that content, but I subscribe to the whole, like, what good is paid content if I can't play that content kind of category. But, recently they announced that they're going to be giving everybody access to the Nouvelle Nights map. from the French DLC, They Shall Not Pass. And
But
it's
how did they announce that? Because I literally had no idea that was coming out.
See, and that's something that's, obviously there's room for improvement on that. I
They
think
used
part of it,
Flakfire Gaming to announce it.
basically, they
Really?
put it out on
No
the
way.
website.
Flakfire?
Really?
Where did you get this info? You know?
It's on the news section of their website, but they haven't really talked about it yet. They've just said, hey, this is coming. I think part of it is because it's not out yet. They're just saying, hey, we have plans to do this. We have plans to release this map to you guys. We don't have a date yet on when we're going to do it, but it's coming soon, right? Is what they're saying. And there are certain things, I think that, EA and DICE are actually pretty in touch with their community in terms of what they want. Whether they could communicate more is a different subject, and whether or not they will give the community what they want is a whole nother discussion there. There are certain things I look at it, I think they're going the right route, which is, occasionally giving them more to do, more to play. So some of the maps on occasion, doing the premium trials event. It's been a while since they had one of those, so we should probably expect another one of those here soon. But I also think they should start to do a little bit. I'm trying to figure out how to put this. Bring back some maps that we like, some legacy maps. I think doing that, making that free to the community, not only kind of keeps everybody together, but there are people who it's like, if they announced, Metro 1918, that would draw in my opinion, a whole lot of people back into Battlefield 1, because there are people that it's like they go and they play Battlefield 4
and they
that's
just
all
play
they play.
Metro, yeah.
That's all, that's all they do.
What about a map that's been in every Battlefield, like Strike at Karkan, do it like a Strike at Sinai? I don't know, something that like a Sinai Desert.
I would like to see a nod, like a nod to the community maps, the ones that the community is like, yo, this is why we play Battlefield. But you got an interesting point there, Flag. I wanna quickly just jump in there because you were talking about the premium trials. And when I really thought about Mambo's questions, like how do they connect with the community, is how do you keep the community informed on changes? And the trials thing is like right there built into the UI. Like when you jump into Battlefield and you're in that main screen, boom, on top it says premium trials or premium friends. This is something that's communicated so easily to someone. You know what I mean? I feel like, when they do release, like you said, the Novell Nights is coming. Guys, if you maybe some of you guys watching this podcast didn't even know that this was a thing. Yeah, it's gonna be free. But like they don't spread the word in an efficient way. Like I wonder why, like they have a UI. They can do so much better with the Battlefield UI.
I think a lot of it is that it's kind of being added as like an afterthought. Like they're realizing the lapses in some of that communication and they're trying to fix it. But it's one of those things that it's, a year after launch, the amount of people who are going to see that even in the UI has diminished significantly. It's something that, I really hope they learn from, I don't want to say mistakes, but those deficiencies when we get to the next Battlefield, and they include that there like right off the bat. They've got the space there, they promote things like use your war bonds,
Right.
They promote all this other stuff. It's like Novell Night's coming free. Like that would be a perfect thing to have there. They have that built into it now, so there's no reason they shouldn't do that. I'm not sure why they're not doing it yet.
To interject, we all can agree that change is always constant, no matter what you do. So when Battlefield decides to release a new Battlefield or whatever, it will be a different kind of audience a year later than it was when the game launches. So they need to adapt to changes in the gaming environment, whether it's through social media, through the streamers, because streaming is bigger now than it was a year ago. And I think going into different streams as a dev or as a community manager and ask them, hey, do you do giveaways? How about this? Since we have heard the community that you don't want a paywall behind the maps because it splits the community, how about this? Since it's still going on, let's do a premium giveaway and just pick one streamer, two streamers a week, and just randomly pop into their stream that are playing their game and say, hey, do you do a giveaway? I'm so-and-so from the DICE community. I would like to give away premium pass in your stream right now. Something like that.
You know what? Like, I remember I streamed once an Ubisoft game. I think it was during the free week for Wildlands. And dude, Ubisoft like hosted me. Like the actual Ubisoft channel. I was like, what? That's never happened to me in my life. You know, that's like...
because they listen. They listen. They don't execute well. That's Ubisoft, but they listen.
You know, it's interesting you bring that up because, you know, EA has done some of that stuff before. You know, I was watching Darkness 429 play Titanfall 2, I think, when that came out, and one of the devs was in there handing out codes in the Twitch, and it's like, so we know they do it. You know, Battlefield is trying to do that a little bit. One of the devs from Battlefield, Yoye, Indigo WD, you know, runs incursions on his Twitch channel all the time and routinely throws codes in the chat, you know, but it's something not a lot of people know about that. I don't know if Battlefield's been retweeting that at all. There might be some kind of issue between him doing that personally and Battlefield. I don't know. But, you know, there are a lot of things that could be done here.
It seems like they're treating incursions like its own thing, though. They're not incorporating it fully into the game yet. And to be honest, it's not in the game yet, so... I guess I understand the distinction, you know.
Yeah, it's something that I look at it at this point. You know, we got more downloadable content coming down the pipeline. You want to talk about getting people back involved with Battlefield 1. For me, the easiest way to do it is those legacy type maps. You know, especially if they're kind of remastered, and you know, you got to remember Battlefield 4 was the last time we had Metro, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, we had Hardline in between that.
Didn't we get something at the end of Hardline? They did bring back some old maps.
They did?
It was Battlefield 3 maps. Man, what were they called? It was one of the good ones. The Bazaar? Grand Bazaar.
Yeah, they reworked that one a little bit and kind of turned it into something else, I think. But... yeah, no, like that kind of stuff is great, you know, and people appreciate that. So it's something like, why wouldn't you want to do that?
You know, here's the thing though, like, so we're talking about like how Battlefield can better connect with the community, right? And, you know, we got comments like Nick Graham once says they listen to their community all the time. And it is true, they do, you know, but do they listen to all of the community? Or do they just listen to the vocal few? Like, we're up here, we're speaking, and you guys are also being recorded on this podcast because it's a video podcast, you know? So your opinions might be seen by some sort of way. But I think Battlefield has so many players that don't go on Reddit, don't go on Twitter, might not even go on YouTube or Twitch, you know? And my thing is like, even though these people don't do that, I used to be one of those people who never looked at content until like PlayStation 4 like taught me that there's a share button. I was like, what? You know? But I played a lot of Battlefield, and I want to know from those people too. Why doesn't Battlefield build into their UI a feedback tab where you can literally, if they want to know like, hey, how do you feel about Novel Knights being free as a premium holder, for instance? Are you mad or you not? You know, like,
well,
easily a poll inside the UI.
The interesting bit, you know, I don't know if you guys have played on the CTE recently. The CTE, after every game, there is a box that pops up, and it's like, rate this match, leave extra comments. So it's like they have built that, you know, at least for end of match, but they have some kind of system there that, yeah, no, you could certainly put that at the end of every match. I mean, it's like, what else are people going to do in the meantime while they wait for it to load? You know, go open a battle pack, maybe. You know, if somebody has an idea, why wouldn't you?
Can you open a battle pack? That? No.
No,
right?
I'm.
Oh.
Wait, what?
You can't open a battle pack during end game screen, right?
I believe you can.
Yeah, now you can.
Oh snap! I never tried. See,
on,
Battlefield didn't tell me I could. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what though? Like, it just kind of, I wonder, because there could be a feedback tab. We already have the news tab. We can have these things. And plus, like, you know, like speaking back to the live streams, which I think are great, you know, just that's a nice step, but advertise it. You know, you have the UI. Why don't you put in one of those little boxes saying, hey, live stream coming up? So, like, make sure you tune in. And don't just put it like a day ahead. Make it like a week ahead thing. Give some people like, oh, snap, yeah, I'm going to tune into that or something.
Well, they have all the data, right? They know who's played the game. They know who's active. Well, if you see somebody that was playing it 5 days a week and now they're only playing it 1 day a week, DICE should see that and reach out to those people and say, what do we got to do to get you to play 3 to 4 times a week again? And get their feedback. Slyer66 says they should ask people who are leaving, not people who are casual players. When you say leaving, is that people that have stopped playing it because now they're playing COD World War II? Or is that people that are just playing something else? Get their feedback. You know, the people that they see log in once a week that used to log in 6 days a week and say, what could we do to get you to play more?
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
you know,
I mean,
I don't want to be exclusive like to people. Like, I like to include everyone. You know, I'm a little statistician in my head. You know, and yeah, it's great data to get the people who are leaving, but it's great data to get the people who are dedicated and playing constantly. It's also great data to get the input of people who play, you know, once a week. You know, because it's just something they do chill. You know, but like, I want them to ask everyone. Really, not just focus on one demographic. Like, hey, let's just ask the girls what they think or something. No, ask everyone. You know, and you can't do it through a UI. I mean, there could be a lot of different ways but like, get it in front of everyone's hands rather than like, hey, let's have a Twitter ask the dev session. But what kind of question can I put in a Twitter that's 100? How many characters can you type now?
Well, most people 140, but they bumped
so, like,
it for.
I can't even ask a proper question of the dev without like going to 6 different tweets, you know, because I don't know.
I will say though, I do like that they do that, and that is something I've noticed that it's nice. Andrew Galata, you know, one of the producers, gets on there and
talking to him on Twitter.
You know, and here's the thing too that you want to take into account, and it's why I like what you're saying, Echo, where it's like, give us this feedback box. It doesn't necessarily matter, you know, and I'm kind of saying this in a, you know, I guess a bad way, but it doesn't necessarily matter if what somebody writes in that box ever gets read or taken seriously. It's the fact that people feel like they can have a conversation with the devs, with DICE. So
and if they're going to read these comments, they need to reply at the individual if they actually take their comment to heart. Say, hey, I'm so-and-so from the DICE dev team. This is your feedback from the game.
That's a good point.
We have heard your reasonings, and it will be taken into consideration.
Yeah, I'll bring it up with my team. I mean, like, imagine you're the Battlefield player and you put a little feedback just because, I don't know, you felt passionate about something. You hear back from the dev about something like that.
Yeah, it connects the two. It says, okay, you're a regular player on a day-to-day basis. We care about you. That's what it empathizes with the community. It's not just about saying, we don't care. It's about saying, we heard you, we empathize with you, and we care that you care, you know?
All right. Yeah, that's good points. Guys, we're coming up on the first topic's end. Can we, final thoughts on it?
Yeah, I just think there's a lot of things that they could be doing. Hopefully, I really just a thing for me that I would like to see. I like it when things are structured. You wouldn't know that by looking at like my work office or whatever, but it's like I like things having set
now
times.
I want to see a picture of your work office
when they you know, like regular scheduled things, you know, so people have expectations of stuff like, okay, we know, you know, this is when the patch is going to come out, this is how we're going to find out about it. You know, I'd like to see them use their social media accounts a little bit more, you know, in a more structured way, not only to promote the game, but to promote people who play the game, would definitely be nice. Like I noticed the other day they retweeted the Maori video I did, which I was really surprised. I did not see that coming.
Dude, they did that?
Yeah.
Yo, that is amazing.
I was surprised by that, but more of that kind of stuff. Because as somebody who creates things, to have that happen, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, they like that and they retweeted it. Like, that's what I think a good use of social media is for, aside from communicating, the professional information about here's what's happening. More engagement in that regard, I think, would be good. And if they can figure out a way to structure that, or maybe even build a system to, to make that more commonplace, I think that would be really good. So that's my thoughts.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you, Flack. Just if my thoughts were they should get in the trenches and lead by example. Get in the games, in the streams with the people that are playing your game, and that way you get the direct, real feedback from the people that are in the trenches. Per se, lead by example, but don't make people feel like you're leading them. Lead with them. That just get in there, talk to the people, your community that plays your game, and that will actually go a long ways.
Me, I've always been, just if I was to throw out final thoughts on the topic, is I've always been all about the UI, because your first experience with Battlefield is not in the game, it's in the menu, and you can do so much more with the menu. Advertise things. They already do a great job advertising YouTube videos that are worth watching. Like, Flack, your videos are awesome, man. I enjoyed that video you were talking about. I can't believe they retweeted you. That's really cool. I've never heard of them doing that, Plus, in my years of streaming, I think I've had a dice dev in there once, and that's when my stream was like 50 people one day watching, because I was playing like Air Superiority, and I had like 100 followers on my channel, and the guy was talking about, like, because the jets didn't have a reticle yet on the outside view, and he was like, oh, we're thinking of adding that. I was like, oh, I guess that was a dice dev. I don't know who that was. And I remember that to this day. You see, that's how special it was to me, and I was just a regular guy and not even a streamer yet. So I really want them to do what Flag said, and just to focus on the UI, improve the UI to make it better and stuff. But we're gonna move on to the next topic, guys. Awesome conversation. You guys are joining us just now. We just talked about what can DICE do better to connect with the community. And for those of you guys who don't know how the podcast works, each of us brings a topic. It's not like a set thing one of us comes up with and we have like a thing. I love this podcast for the conversation that it is. It brings the community together, and it means a lot to all of us. So yeah, next topic is actually by me. So here we go. How can we make operations a better game mode? I know it's a little selfish because I love operations, but I've been feeling a little salty on it, and I don't know what you guys feel, because the operations for the DLC is just not that good. And I wanted to talk about how can we make it better. I know it's a tough one.
Yeah,
I play a lot.
It's something I can't, I think, really speak to there, because I just don't play operations that much. Actually, today,
Really?
when I was streaming, I tried to play operations, and I was trying to get pistol kills for some of the challenges, and I wasn't having fun with it, so I stopped. I went back to playing
which map
Conquest.
did you play?
It was the Iron Walls one, so it was on Monte Grappa.
Monte Grappa operations is terrible. I've said that the way they need to fix that one is take the turret, when it blows up, make that a hole accessible downstairs.
Yep.
Easy fix, done deal.
I think one thing they can do, because people like the grand scale of the operations, right? They like the 64 player. They like the whole idea of like going forward and taking these different things and
objective.
Just trying to have that forward progress. Or some people really like playing defenders and keeping people from doing things. We've all kind of got our sides on that, and they're coming out with this campaign operations, which is basically taking operations and making it even bigger, right? On the most recent news release for the Novell Knights map, they said, and they're calling these operations campaigns, so it's stringing together multiple operations and adding unique rewards to the mix. Okay, so that's what they're saying. The first one's going to be Eastern Storm, which is going to combine Brusilov Offensive and Red Tide.
Yeah, but isn't that going to be like too long then? Like, who's going to play through all of those operations?
I don't know, but it's like some people will do that, right? That's one of the reasons everybody complained when an operation ended. You had to leave the server. and you had to go find another server. So there are people out there who jump in and they're like, man, I want to.
That was a great fix, by the way. That
Yeah,
was a
so
great fix.
there are definitely people out there who, will sit and play, and, with the way they're going to work in rewards there, it might encourage people to stay longer in that mode.
What's your opinion, guys, on this? Like, the way I see Operation, even if it's just one map. So for instance, we talk about a French DLC one, like Devil's Anvil. I like Fort de Vaux, but Verdun Heights is so bad. The layout, it doesn't work because it snakes up and it comes around. Mm-hmm. So the way they focus is spawns versus spawns of attackers and spawns of defenders. It's like, for instance, in the first sector, the attackers are in the forest, defenders are already guarded up, like, so well. Like, in my opinion, an operation should go, this first place is kind of easy to take, then a medium place is kind of hard, and the last one should be a difficult place. It should be progressively harder as an operation. But I don't find that to be true in a lot of the DLC maps, for instance.
Yeah, I get that. At the same point, I think it's... And granted, I'm not a game developer, so I don't know. I just look at it from like a tactical point of view and looking at the lay of the land and the obstacles and that kind of stuff. And I look at it and say, that's really hard to balance. Like, I think Operations, kudos to DICE for doing it, but it's got to be something that is quite difficult to balance. That's why, some sectors you get vehicles, other ones you don't. Some sectors you have, anti-tank guns or, flak guns or whatever. And it's got to be really difficult to try and balance that out.
So, like, what I think about, for instance, Verdun Heights, right? Like, they start in a city and you have just one way to enter and there's nothing good. Why not have two spawns? Have a spawn on the right side of the map and have a spawn where it is. So your forces, when you're attacking, are actually getting the defenders in two different angles, which will cause the defense to actually be harder. You know what I mean? And then as you progress to second sector, like in the beginning sectors should always give the attackers more avenues to attack, more angles, and therefore it's easier to attack. You know what I mean? And you can balance it, like you said, giving them different vehicles if they feel the need, they have access to different things. But my opinion is, like, I think they can fix a lot by their spawns.
Well, and we know they can do that. If you guys have played any Incursions does have two spawns for each side. So, you can pick one side to spawn.
In Operations too.
Yeah.
Some operations do that. I also felt like another way that they can fix some of that stuff, for instance, Verdun Heights, is like, they have a capture zone in the middle sector that's all the way up, and it's like way out of nowhere, and then you have to make it up a hill while snipers are shooting you from spawn. Like, just delete that. Don't make that. Make that a one capture zone. They have a bunch of one capture zones. Why not just capture the church and call it a day? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I'm salty they took away the 40-man operations, first off. I don't feel like a majority of the operations game modes are suitable for 64-man. I only think there's a couple that give you the ability to flank. You talk about Verdun. I loved Verdun operations on 40-man. The reason, because it was such a challenge to attack and it was such a challenge to defend. But if you have a good team, you can do it fairly easy. They could add some trenches out to that field where the haystacks are at for operations beginners.
I think they should spawn them there too, like, so they'd be dual
if you spawn there, give them some trenches to flank. The issue with the 64-man that I have is that you don't have the ability to plan a flank route. You only have the ability to do a mass push. So for me as an attacker, I like the ability to outthink my opponent, not just outshoot my opponent. So when they took away the 40-man operations, they just basically said, we want to have a mass shootout. We don't want to have a mass flank route. So I said, oh, they lost me there. I give up on operations after that.
I guess I understand. Yeah, go ahead, Flak.
Part of that goes back, Echo's always saying how much he loves Rush, and it's like, they built the maps for Rush, in terms of the older Battlefield games. And I think that's one of those things where
You don't think they built them for operations?
I don't. I don't know. I look at it and I'm like, I totally get where Mambo's coming from, because there are certain things there where it's like, now you're just kind of taking the map and, divvying it up in different chunks. And inevitably, because of the way the map is designed, you're going to wind up with, some sections are going to be easier because of what Mambo's talking about, where you just kind of naturally have those flanking avenues or those defilades or, whatever that exists there. And the other ones are going to be kind of open. Like there are certain areas of the St. Quentin Scar operation where it's just like, I'm in a field running and that's my one option. You can only do the mash push because there's nothing else there for you really to work with from a tactical
Yeah, but there are a lot of
standpoint.
trenches and stuff. Like, what's interesting is DICE Stockholm develops the game, right? The base game. And they're the ones who developed the vanilla maps that we have. We call them vanilla. For those of you guys who are not familiar with that term, it's just basically the maps that come with the game. And DICE LA develops the DLC ones. And there is a clear difference, and I think you might be right in that fact, because I know that Battlefield, when they created Battlefield 1, Operations was their premier game mode. And they really pushed it, and those maps play pretty well up until Monte Grappa. Like, Operations are phenomenal. I play them all the time, nonstop, and have a blast. I don't know. But when it comes to the DLC ones, I get the feeling like you might be right. Like, they might be just designed for Conquest, and Operations is sort of an afterthought. But, you can still do it good. Because here's the thing, like, my justification against taking away 40-man is that it's so hard to balance things. And just like Flag said, it's so hard to balance Operations. But if you have two different player count operations, you're making it harder for yourself. They should have just had one, and they should have done it right.
Yeah, so but with the server browser, do you think that's a problem?
But balance the game mode wise. Not
no,
keeping
I know
the
that,
servers
but
filled.
do you think that having different player counts, if you have a server browser, I don't think that splits the Operations game mode. I think that lets people choose which game mode they want.
Right,
on
but
Operations.
Here's the thing though, like, they shouldn't create two different, like, for instance, imagine creating, do they still have small and big conquest, or no? Did they do away with that?
I think there's just the one. I think it's just 64 Conquest.
Okay, so you remember when back in the day they had small conquest?
Yeah.
And it felt so empty? It's because the map was designed for big conquest, so it doesn't feel empty.
Right.
And so it's like when you create that and you create a game mode, you need to balance it to one specific way to play. When you create a bigger or smaller player count, if the mode was created for a smaller player count, like 40-man, like you said, Verdun Heights felt great on 40-man. Now when it's on 64, it feels crowded and it feels impossible. But if it's backwards, if the map is designed for 64-man and now you're playing on 40-man, it feels empty and it feels like I can flank all day, So I think that it's a good step that they took away each game mode. Like, they just made one. This is how we're gonna balance it. You know what I mean?
Then they need to add 3 flags on every operation push. Then they need to spread the players out. It's too compact.
Sometimes there's not enough room. Like in Verdun Heights, there's not enough room. But you can have places with just one flag, and it's pretty fun to attack those. Like, I love playing the first part of Monte Grappa, just the one cap. When you first get the church, or at the end, you gotta get the 4. Those are fun. You just gotta get bodies on the objective. It's really chaotic, but it's fun. But I hate the triple cap, for instance, because of like you can go inside the. They made that the cap zone, and getting inside the trench there. You know what I'm talking about, like the dugouts. Those are hard. Weird decision there. So like, I just wanted to see like what your thoughts are, guys, on the whole idea of like improving the whole. Operations. Like, is it the spawns? Is it the map? Is it a combination of both? You really want 40-man back, Mambo? Think that's the solution?
Make the maps more intimate. I mean, you got a lot of people saying, "Oh wow, Call of Duty World War II brought out this game mode called War or whatnot." Basically, it's a smaller version of Operations.
It's so small.
It's so small?
It's so small.
I haven't tried it.
Okay.
I had a blast playing single player, though. It was so fun.
So they bring out this Operations game mode, they put a little bit of AI in it, and they call it war in Call of Duty.
Wait, this
And,
AI?
Yeah,
Not
there's
like real
AI and then
players?
there's real players.
Huh.
Yeah, I was watching Jack Frags play it the other day, and he was shooting AI, and then he would see people with red name tags, and that's real people. So he's shooting both AI and real people.
Kind
But my
of
thing
feels like
is,
a waste of bullets when you shoot AI.
right.
I mean, it works in some games like Titanfall and Titanfall 2 had AI, and like that was a lot of fun. I like killing the grunts in that game.
Right. I mean, that's why people play zombies, because the AI. I mean, I look at the campaign. Echo, you played the campaign of Call of Duty, and for what it's worth, I guess it's okay. But the AI is just so stupid. They stand there and look over a box and let you shoot them in the face.
Yeah.
How is that considered a great campaign? I don't know. I like intelligence.
You know, when it comes to campaign, I'm one of those people who plays on regular. I don't like being hassled by unfair AI. I want to just shoot them in the face, let them all fall down, and let's hear a good story. You know, make me cry, you know? Let's just do that. Like, I don't know. I felt like the story was good, you know, in Call of Duty World War II. And everybody came into my stream and they were just like, oh, how do you compare it to BF1? How do you compare it to BF1? I'm like, not really. You know, the only thing about BF1 is I didn't have enough time to care about the characters. 45 minutes for a story is too little. There should have been 2-hour stories.
That is tough.
And that's what I would have been like, wow, 2-hour story, that was neat. Let me put that over here. Let's play over here. Let's play over here, you know? Versus this one was, you know, like you spend 6 hours with the same guy and his friends and you start to kind of care, you know, and so it's a little different. It's no Wolfenstein. I've beaten Wolfenstein recently as well. It's like an 11-hour story, you know? I don't know. There's something to be said when you learn about these characters. That's the only comparison I would have made with Battlefield 1. I wish it was a little longer. But I really thought it was interesting, and I really hoped that they would make more DLC. You know, like, oh, cool, new war story, the Anzac story.
I know. I've been saying that for
Dude, that would have been
months.
so cool. Yeah, but like, they didn't, so.
I like the field story mode of the campaign for Battlefield 1, where it was kind of like the giant shadow, where you go down in all the windmills and what. I really enjoyed that. I was like, wow, you kind of go in, you gotta get the spark plugs for the tank engines. You know, that was cool.
They had a lot of cool stuff in Battlefield 1. But just, you know, if anybody's thinking about, like, where does World War II stack up with the whole storyline? I only played story. I haven't played multiplayer yet or war. Might try it out. I don't know. I have a feeling I'm still a Battlefield fan. It's weird. I'm a weirdo.
Yeah.
All right. I think that brings any final thoughts on just what we discussed here on operations? Because I like to give DICE, like, the point of my podcast, if you guys are watching too, the whole our podcast together is, the idea is like, all right, there's so much negativity out there on the internet and, you know, people complaining, and I want to be the voice of reason. And so my friends here, and we just want to be like, how can we make it better? Because there's so many of us who still enjoy Battlefield. And when you think about it, there's like 50,000 just on PlayStation 4, like 45,000 just on Xbox, like logged in at the same time. If we go right now check, it'd be crazy. So in my opinion, like there's at least 250,000 players just playing every week. That's 250,000. You know, that's a lot of people. Battlefield's a huge franchise, no matter which way you say it. You know, it's like, I don't know why people had that whole mentality of Battlefield's dying. That was one of the weirdest things I ever heard of, when it's doing better than ever
They
before.
base it on how many people are streaming it, I guess.
Yeah, there's not a lot of streamers, but you know what? I enjoy and I stream what I enjoy. So just to bring it to a close, guys, operations-wise, fixing spawns, that's what I felt like they really need to look into. And just, you know, take away some places. Like, I really didn't think, like, especially the DLC, they need to look back and make a DLC with good operations. I'm really hopeful. Because it does seem like Conquest is the way to go for DLC.
I just want a couple 40-man servers. That's all I want.
Do you think they'll bring it back after taking it away?
I don't think they will. I'm reasonably sure, looking at operations campaigns, that, you know, as much as they like 40-player, and you know, like, that's a decision DICE didn't take lightly. You know, they know that people really like, you know, 40 or 64-player operations. They know that there are people out there doing it, but they looked at, I think they looked at the numbers and they said, we need to put kind of all of our eggs in one basket when it comes to operations to make sure people have more games they can choose, because that's kind of an even more frustrating experience. Like, oh, I can't play 40 operations and I really like it. I'd much rather have that than, oh, I can't play any operations because there isn't a full server, available for me. Or, I can't play the operations that I want because nobody's playing it on the DLC.
I just thought of a perfect fix for like Mambo. Well, you guys know we can rent servers. How come we can't rent an operations server? I've been waiting for this. I'll literally, when they let me do that, I will rent a server.
Hey,
if they let you rent a server,
and have it 40 player.
And you be the person who sets it to 40 man, you put in a title, and we've talked about like DICE trying to advertise more of people who rented servers, have a whole community section. Would you rent a server for 40 man?
I'd rent one right away, and I guarantee it'd be filled every day.
Or at least if it was the 40-man server of operations, there will be interest, there will be people in there. DICE, if you're watching, boom, bada bing, right? That's it.
There you go. Let us rent a 40-man operations server. I'm set.
Let us rent operation servers, and then you can customize one for 40 or 60. It's up to the community to decide. That's a cool idea.
Okay.
Awesome. We're gonna move on to our last topic, and I'm gonna remind you guys watching in the chat, you're watching live. Of course, if you're watching live, save your questions. We're gonna be getting to them in just a second after we finish our topics here. If you are watching the recording, there's a huge chance that you are watching it when it is not live. Send your questions to the Let's Talk Podcast at gmail.com, and we'll get into that section in a minute. Last topic, Flak, take it away, buddy.
Right. I think for the last topic here, we had in mind kind of discussing some of the things coming up on the CTE. What DICE is doing with that. Some of the changes they're testing. There are a couple maps that they've been testing here lately, Cape Helles and Achibaba from the Turning Tides DLC. And we got
put a link in the chat.
Yes, and make sure you guys check out that link, because that's going to really cover a lot of what we're going to talk about for this topic, in particular specializations. There are 12 new specializations that DICE is testing on there. And there are certain ones, that I look at and I kind of say, this is not a good idea, or this is abusable here. This needs to be examined. So looking at those, we got 2 for each class, basically, and then we also got 2 for tankers and pilots. And it would be real nice to have a cavalry specialization. We're not at that point yet, but I imagine that'll pop up at some point in the future.
That's the only one you can't customize in the actual customize, right, window. You can customize a tanker, you can customize a soldier. You can't customize cavalry. You have to do the R2 things.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird.
Yep. But looking at it on there, I know you guys have had some time to look at.
I want to decorate my lance, man. I want some skins for my lance.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't you say you want a lance while you're off the horse?
Or no, throw the lance. I want to be able to throw it
like javelin style.
Yo, did you guys realize they nerfed the cavalry off the horse? He now does not have extra health.
I know. I died the other day, like instantly by Hellregal. I'm like, how did I die instantly to a Hellregal?
Dude, I think he even has less health than the actual thing. Either it's a glitch, or for real they nerfed him.
Yeah, I got off the horse the other day because I'm used to engaging with my pistol when I jump off the horse, and I died instantly. Whoa, what happened? Why did I die?
Yeah, ripped, right?
Yeah.
So, Flag, just walk us through this so some people might not know. Like, let's pick a few of these things that might be controversial, because some are controversial.
So there are some that are definitely controversial. First things like, and I'll talk about the ones that I really like first. Okay, so for medic and support, you basically got this ability for those characters. And if you guys remember Battlefield Hardline, one of the things that I loved about that game most, maybe you didn't like Battlefield Hardline, but you definitely liked this ability where you could run up to your teammate who was a medic or a support player and grab ammo or grab health. because it's like you never knew if the person you were playing with was a complete blueberry or if they were, actually paying attention, if they were going to give you ammo, they're going to give you health if they noticed you needed it. It was really frustrating. So having that in there where it was like press X to grab this was really nice. So for the medic and support, they added this kind of aura effect where if you at least have the ammo box or the med crate, you automatically either, provide ammo to nearby allies or heal nearby allies. And that effect is blocked by suppression. So if you're getting shot at, it stops working, which is fine. But I do really like that because at least that solves one of the bigger issues that I have, provided somebody actually equips those specializations. So there's lots of things there. But I'm curious, number one, what you guys think of those particular specializations.
I don't like them.
Yeah,
I feel like Izzy. Remember when we asked Izzy something? He's just, I don't like it.
Yeah, I think they need to do what they did in Hardline. Give you the ability to have people grab passive ammo off your back. Make that a perk. Don't make, these perks where it helps people who are not even playing the game get, help. If you want that, go play Call of Duty.
Yeah, or make it so you don't get points for resupplying them, because you currently do. Like, it'll count it as resupply points. So it's
I
like,
don't know.
I get
some what you guys are saying, though. I get what you guys are saying, but like I don't like it. I don't like it. I want to poo-poo this whole thing. I think you should just put down the box, man. Put down the pack.
I agree. And looking at some of the other things here, for the scout, we've got some pretty intense specializations where you have headshots with rifles, and it's supposed to be single shot rifles, so it's not actually the little Pedersen device Springfield rifle there, but that will reveal nearby enemies. And then you have Deft Recon, which is essentially like a ping, that'll reveal nearby enemies on the mini map. And they don't tell us how often that is. It just says periodically. And like those, to me, I look at them, I'm like, yeah, that's not what I want. I don't want a sniper just randomly lucking out, knowing where I am as I'm coming to take him out, because all he's doing is sitting on the side of the map sniping. But
they need to replace a couple of them with the ones that we've talked about in the podcast, like the ability to stomp out a flare, or the ability to javelin a guy that's laying on the ground when you ride by him on a cavalry. Something that's interactive, or the ability for one character to pull out dual wield pistols. Something that's more
dual wielding in Battlefield? That'd be so cool.
But something that's a little bit more interactive as a perk.
Yeah,
would be
less
better than
less
these
passive.
Crazy non-skilled.
Yeah. And what I don't feel right about the ones, especially with the scout, is you're rewarding people like, no, you're not even rewarding. You're punishing people who are playing the game correctly.
Right.
And it's not their fault. Why you just got headshotted? You're right next to me. You're standing still. You're doofus, right? You just got headshotted. Now I have to be on the mini map. What did I do? That's not cool.
That, or you have snipers who will just go camp in a building somewhere and abuse Deft Recon and perimeter alarm, right? Which shows people on the radar if they set off the little tripwire bomb.
And now they're gonna get 2 tripwires.
Yeah, and that's another thing that's an issue there. But out of all this, and we like to stay positive here, but right. Some of these things I'm looking at, I'm like, this is going to be a problem. And the biggest one for me, there's actually a couple of them. Two biggest ones I have an issue with. The medics one, which is reciprocity, which is if you heal an ally, you are also healed. There needs to be some kind of cooldown, or things can't stack or this or that, because it's like, imagine a squad of 4 medics.
Yeah.
And they're all running reciprocity, and they're all running medic aura.
Oh, snap. I didn't think of that.
That you just
what
have
does
like
medic aura do?
Medic aura is the one that heals nearby allies.
Proximity heal.
Okay.
I believe you can't be suppressed though.
Now, if you're suppressed, the effect stops, but that only applies to the person who's suppressed. So if you have your buddy in the same room as you, they're going to be passively healing you while you're under fire, and while they're healing you, they're also getting
that
healed.
has potential to
If
go
you've got
crazy.
if you've got 4 guys, that's an issue, and the same thing goes with the tanker perk of Convoy. Like already on some maps, tanks are really difficult, and a good tanker can really cause some problems. And it's like, I love playing as Assault. I will go after the tanks all day. When I find a tanker who's really good, it's a fun challenge. But to look at this where, just like if you've got 4 people with the medic aura and reciprocity running around, if you've got 2 people in tanks, right? You've got both of them have Convoy on, which is self-repairing, also repairs nearby vehicles. If they stick close to one another,
it's over.
It's over. Like, no Assault is going to be able to take them out, because they're just going to be constantly, back and forth repairing one another. And there's just nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, but also, like, the critical cover, deploying smoke automatically when they get disabled, before every tank ever dies, they always get disabled. So it's like, there will be smoke everywhere now. Every single tank will use this. You know what I mean?
Well,
why wouldn't you?
And the other thing is, it kind of up-powers some of the tanks that are, that don't have that ability. It's like an extra ability.
Isn't that already an ability for most tanks to smoke screen? Some tank loadouts have that ability. Now you can pick a tank that doesn't have that ability, because you're gonna get it by de facto anyway. And the worst part is you get disabled, the smoke pops by itself, and you probably have the quick repair, so you're undisabled, you're backing out, you're Gucci. Come on. Seems a bit much.
I look at it, I don't, some, like I said, some of them I really like, but looking at it here, it's like these need to be tweaked.
Or deleted.
I didn't see a lot of issues when we played with them on the CTE the other day. Those were active. I did, get to try out some of them, and I really liked Mobile Arsenal. Which is the ammo box doesn't need to be placed, that passive resupply. It was great for me as somebody who played Assault, because I could just, run behind the support and, not have to really worry about anything. But so they got to look at them. And the thing is, like,
hey, how does the Assault one work? Because I didn't try the CTE build yet. Drop useful items related to the kit. What are they dropping?
I think it's like ammo and grenades is essentially what it's related to, as far as I
thought like something cool, like a spotting flare.
Yeah, I don't actually know. We weren't really able to test it that much, but I think it was like a simple resupply. So it's kind of like, scavenger from Call of Duty or
well, if it's an Assault
like
player that's dropping it, then it should be something related to what their job is, whether it's a tank grenade or a landmine.
Yeah, but if you knife a sniper, how does the sniper have a tank grenade to give you a tank grenade back?
No, I thought you said Assault, didn't you?
No, it's but Assault,
I think you guys are like misunderstanding what it's supposed to be there. I don't think it's referring to the class of the person that you kill. It's referring to the class, for the Assault. I think is what they're getting at.
Okay.
So it's like you might get more rocket gun ammo, or you might get another bundle of dynamite or something like that, I think is what they're saying. It wouldn't be useful for them to drop like a med crate or health pack or something. I mean, maybe it does. I don't know. We haven't gotten to test it, and we don't have that much information from DICE at this point. It just says, useful items related to their kit. What does that mean? I can't provide feedback on that unless I know how it, really works. Need more details.
Okay, so CTE updates. You got to play the new map, right? What's the name of this map?
It's wireframed. I don't think it's completed yet.
Yeah,
right?
It's white box. Yeah.
Oh, that's what they call it, white box.
Yeah, so Achibaba and Turning Tides, and the thing is, we're talking about all this stuff. Like you
should probably see the YouTube video, Flak. You should just plug your YouTube video in the chat, because like you did an awesome job explaining everything is there. And I don't want to. Do you guys want to go into what that map is like? Because it's a little early. It's still white box, like you said. I'd rather for you guys check out Flak's video on that, because I think that's a better discussion than us having a podcast. Flak is gonna find you the thing. I really wanted to talk about just the CTE changes, just these specializations. Because I remember when specializations came out, we came up with a lot of good ideas of like what would be cool for each class to gain, you know, and things that weren't like passive like this. But the most alarming to me was the whole, I guess you put it right, I didn't think about the whole tanks next to tanks and medics next to medics. That's a little bit much. But I really felt like the whole sniper ones were a little bit much. Like, you know, you randomly get someone spawned on the mini-map, like the little red icon. That's a bit crazy. And, you know, like the fact that, like, I have nothing to do with a teammate standing next to me and getting headshotted. Hey, that's this guy's fault. Like, how come you can see me now? How did he tell on me? You know, like, when he got shot in the face. He's like, but my friend's over here. Noggin, you know, like, it doesn't make sense.
Oh, you probably screamed out of fear that your buddy got shot in the head, so they could hear you and know what you meant.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
I would keep my mouth shut.
Oh my God, my friend just got shot.
And I'd be like, look, that was my best friend for 3 years on the field. Move on.
No, you're like screaming, no.
At that point, you know what? An audible, like a scream of terror, I'd be okay with, you know, like the mini-map.
It actually does that in the game, though. Like you're playing or something, and it's.
There's a lot of funny things they say.
Yeah, you got
like,
one time
spawn,
it was like the sergeant's dead, you know, and it's like, oh, your squad leader got shot. Like it actually, you can pick up on certain things there.
But the question is, you hear it, but do the opponents also hear that? Or is it client side?
Yeah, I think they do, because it's like you'll hear them yelling at you. You know, if you're playing as British, you'll hear them yelling in German. So, as far as I know.
That's really cool. The little things, man, the little things. I want to bring this topic to a close, guys. Just talking about recent changes in CTE. For those of you guys who missed it, I believe here's the link to the CTE themselves. And Flak will probably link his YouTube channel. You should just link your regular YouTube channel link. You guys can check out, because there's a lot of videos he's done on that topic. Mambo, do you ever stream CTE?
I have, and I was worried that I was going to infringe on the NDA, and then Flak Prophet said, no, you're okay, you can stream it.
Okay, I have never.
Like, it was the first time they brought CTE to console, and I started streaming some of the Albion stuff, and he was like, no, you're okay, you can stream it. I'm like, okay, I just didn't want to get banned off Twitch because I'm streaming some CTE content, you know?
Yeah. I mean, but, you know, and we're cutting down a lot of this stuff here with the CTE things, and it's like, you need to remember the CTE is for testing. It's for them to get feedback. So it's like, we're talking about this, we're saying this, you know, this needs a change, this needs to be fixed. That's the whole point of it there. So I'm not really sure about the specializations, but I will say that the maps are very good. The maps are very good. They improved them quite a bit since the first time that I played them.
Or Conquest.
Yes, because Conquest was the only thing we got to play. But they're taking the feedback and working on it and making changes, and it's very clear that they're doing that. So it's encouraging. You know, it's like, okay, they're actually using the CTE for what it's intended to be, right?
Because we're Conquest players, Flak. That's, you got Echo over there going womp 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 womp.
Yeah, I love Operations. I used to love Rush, but Rush in Battlefield 1 is just not the same.
No.
Maybe if they remove the whole press square and a random artillery thing kills a guy who's doing really good. Happens to me all the time in Rush.
Yeah, I played Rush a few weeks back.
Awesome, guys. So those were our 3 topics, guys. What we're going to do next is do a little bit of listener mail. We got a few emails from you guys. And right after that, if you're watching live, you guys will have your opportunity to say at crew your questions. And we're going to get into this. But before, like I said, we're going to answer a couple of emails here. We got one from Evan Bates. Says, hi guys, Sean Seal here. First of all, love your podcast and have been watching, get this, since the first week. I can't believe that. You know, that's awesome, man. I like that you guys are diehard Battlefield players like myself and still very much care about the game and the franchise futures. Anyways, moving on. Akru, I was curious, what's your favorite loadouts for each class are and why? I find myself experimenting with each class quite a bit. Side note, do vehicle drivers annoy or the mess out of you? He said a couple other things, which I'm not going to get 100% to, but I don't think we have time. I don't want to keep it like a huge segment. Instead of all of our classes, can you guys each pick one of your favorite class and loadout and why? We'll answer Evan Bates that way.
Okay.
You go first, Mambo.
Mambo, you said okay first. That's it, man. You volunteered.
All right. The new Fedorov Automat gun for the medic is such a good feeling gun, but the skilled gun of the medic class, the Lu rifle, I've been finding myself playing so much with that rifle because I can beat on a one-on-one within 15, 20 meters. I can beat Hellregal. I can beat almost anybody with it if you quick fire it. And to me, it's such a good gun at range as well. So I've been playing the medic with the Lu rifle. That's my favorite new fun gun.
Yep, that's what you were doing the other day when I popped in your stream there. I was like, oh, he's actually using the Lu rifle. I was surprised by that. For myself, since I always play assault, and this is kind of the go-to kit here, I will use the Hellfire trench shotgun, which I think is way better than the Model 10A, MLE 1903 pistol, rocket gun, AT grenade, gas grenade. It's like the complete jerk kit for fighting somebody on like Fort DeVoe. You never want to run into me on that map because it's just terrible. I talked to Braddock once at one of the capture events. You know, Braddock, the community manager, and he's like,
"Yeah, Jeff.
Man, Flack is such a nice guy in person, but he plays like such a jerk. Like he just plays angry the entire time." And it's like, you know, I love that kit because you got the shotgun for real close up. I am not afraid to get hate mail for using the AT rocket gun to snipe people across the map.
Your shotgun has a bayonet on it.
Of course it does. What else would it? If I could put 2 bayonets on there, I would put 2 bayonets on there.
That'd be pretty funny.
You know, but it's one of those things that it's like that setup is perfect for me because it's got something for the real close up. It's got the fast firing rate. And then if you're getting sniped at, you know, that's really the only time I'll use the rocket gun to hit a person is if it's a sniper across the map. And it's like, well, as somebody with a shotgun, I don't really have any other kind of choice. So I got to roll with that.
It's always funny when you get rocketed.
And Evan, then gas grenades all day.
Evan, for me, I think a lot of people know I love the Benet Mercier. I think the Storm version is amazing. It has like 0 recoil. It can shoot people across the map. And it's like one of the hardest hitting LMGs. I know the fire rate isn't the most amazing, but I mean, your bullets go where you want them to. You can't say that for every single gun in Battlefield, where there's bullets flying everywhere where they're not, when you're not aiming. You know, Benet Mercier, I put a limpet charge because I like to deal with vehicles. I like to deal with because it does massive damage to vehicles. It also does massive damage to environment.
You only get 1 limpet.
Yeah, but when you put down a big ammo crate, it comes back like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why I cheese. I cheese with the big crate, not the little pouches. Because I get my grenades back fast, and I get my limpet back fast. So I can just start tossing them. I can solo tanks just by throwing a limpet, and then waiting a little bit to see when he's healing, then throw a grenade. Waiting a little bit, you know, because by then I'll have another limpet. Done deal.
Okay.
And then I like the frag grenade because, like I said, you get it back almost instantly with the ammo crate. And that's about it, really. It doesn't matter what knife you put on. And perks, you put the flak perk because, you know, my boy Flakfire here.
I just unlocked the reduced suppression by 75%. I've been working on that since the name of the Czar maps have been dropped. I finally got it. So when I'm bipoded up with an LMG, so yeah, I'm also a big fan of the Benet, you know that.
Yeah.
But I do stuff for skill sometimes. So to me, it's so easy to just mow people down that I stop playing with it.
Oh, okay. I know. It's a cheese weapon.
Yeah. He also said the question though, Echo. Before we move on, the question also, the person that sent the email also said, "Do you find that vehicles annoy you a lot?" Well, we like things that are challenging, right?
Yeah.
So I like to catch a vehicle driving at me and throw a tank grenade and blow them up or what. It's such a good
I saw
explosion.
that clip on your Twitch page. Someone clipped you. It was on a Russian map. Some guy was coming at you with a vehicle. You threw an anti-tank grenade, and he just blew up, and the car passed by.
Yeah,
That was funny. That was
yeah.
on your clips. Pretty
Oh, I
hilarious.
didn't even
We
know.
do have another question, but I think Marquis ladies, when I read through it, basically we're talking about Metro and those kind of style maps, and I think we touched upon that already. So hopefully, you just fast rewind or something, you get our opinion on that whole thing, because I really want to get into the live listener section. I just feel like Fort de Vaux is kind of like Metro,
It
like
is,
lockers.
and that's why people like it.
It's cool.
That's why they
People
like.
play
Everybody
it.
says I don't like grenade spam, and it's like, then why are we playing on 24/7 Fort de Vaux servers if you hate it?
Because people are masochists. That being said, guys, we're gonna open up the floor for you guys watching live. At crew, if you have a question, at each of our names, if you want to just specifically ask us, because yeah, this podcast is not just about our opinions, our thoughts on Battlefield. It really is about you guys as well, and getting your ideas and input in there. Of course, if you're watching this because it's recorded as well on YouTube or on iTunes, and you want your comments or thoughts read out loud out here, you can email us. I'll tell you what the email is while these guys get some questions lined up. It's called the Let's Talk Podcast at gmail.com. I know it's a mouthful. I said I would change it, but I can't figure out a better name. So we're sticking with that for now. Let's talk podcast at gmail.com. All right, guys. So let's see. We have a question by Arioli. Crew, do you think that DICE making all these changes so often gives an idea that they are losing their franchise identity on Battlefield? Do they have a clear idea on how the game is gonna play, or are they just experimenting or paving the path onward the new Battlefield coming?
That's a great question.
It's a great question, and my opinion is that there, with each Battlefield, I think Mambo, you touched upon this, new and more players play, and because we have so many people joining us, they're trying to make a Battlefield that fits all of us.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to play on the one particular part there about it, losing franchise identity on Battlefield. I think it's something, it's certainly changed, but I look at it and I really hope that's not the case. I think if Battlefield sticks close to Conquest and, things that have worked for it for a long time, I think it'll always work well for them. Looking at things like Call of Duty, right? I'll bring in Call of Duty on this. After Black Ops 2, maybe something like that, it's like I didn't even recognize it anymore.
Yeah.
Like I looked at it, I'm like, I don't know what this franchise is doing with its life. It's made some questionable decisions.
That's when they went into space. They definitely
Yeah.
lost their franchise identity there.
They did. They really did. And I remember being really concerned that was going to happen when they announced Call of Duty 4, right? Call of Duty Modern Warfare. And I was like, to me, Call of Duty has always been a historical game, and it's always been focused in that, like, is it going to lose its franchise identity if it goes to Modern Warfare? And it turns out it didn't. It was one of the best Call of Duty games out there, so they thought they could do it again going to space, and that really kind of backfired on them. I really hope that doesn't happen with Battlefield, but I see where the concern is. This is something that it's like, it's more than just Conquest now. It's more than just Team Deathmatch. I'm working on a video on game modes, but it's like we've got Conquest, Team Deathmatch, Domination, War Pigeons. We got Supply Drop. We got Frontlines. We got Operations. It's like I don't even know how many I was counting there, but that's an insane amount of game modes. And it's like they're going to add another one with Turning Tides, Conquest Assault, which in my opinion is an excellent game mode. I'd much rather have that over supply drop because it makes certain maps shine. It's designed for certain maps, just like Echo was talking about with Rush. It works really well.
Do we need it? Do we need another one?
It's a good question, and it's like, does that reflect what Battlefield is about? I think so much of that is in the game modes, and when you put all these different kinds of game modes in there, all these different ways to play Battlefield, you're kind of diluting what Battlefield is all about and the franchise identity. So
to me,
it's
when talking about like franchise identity, Battlefield's always been to me. This is the word Battlefield. This is war. This is 32 versus 32, which at its own right is massive. When you look at every other competitor out there, Call of Duty just came out their game. What is it, 6v6 or something? Nobody's doing these large player counts, and Battle Royale is a different thing because they're not teams. It's massive. It's war, and when you get these game modes like supply drop, it's like, oh, this is like a dinky conflict. This is not war. I don't know, man.
I'd much rather they put that energy instead of putting into developing a new game mode. Like I did this poll on Twitter the other day, and 65% of people between the options of between the options of weapons, modes, vehicles, and behemoths, 65% of people, and this is like 2,000 votes, so it's not just some little poll, said they want more weapons. Game modes and behemoths were tied at 13%, and then vehicles was like under 10%, basically.
Because, we have good vehicles already in the game. Like, you don't need more.
Yeah, and it's like people like weapons. Like, I'd much rather they put the work time that they have instead of putting it into game modes. Like, they just remove 40-player operations. Keep the player base more focused, add things that people want. Like, clearly they want weapons. I'd much rather have, instead of the number of weapons that we're getting for this DLC, get another one in there. I'd much rather have that over another game mode.
True. There should be a good way to prioritize things. I want to keep things moving with the questions. Sorry if you had a thought on that, Mambo. Do you have a quick thought on that, or can I move to the next question?
Yeah, the other day you mentioned that you think Battlefield is great because it lets you play the way you want to play. And I almost felt a little empathy for Chris from Battle Nonsense's YouTube video on it not being focusing on squad or teamwork orientation. And I see that aspect. That's why it draws me to Battlefield Conquest, is because I like to see in my mini-map my green teammates that are in my squad roll with me. And I bark at my guys when I'm playing Conquest that they're not rolling with me. So I prefer the Battlefields in the past seemed like they were more oriented to squad gameplay. I want perks and stuff to tailor toward that rather than just all-out chaos, which is, Battlefield is meant for all-out war, but you could do objective-based in all-out war. That's kind of like my feeling with the Battlefield franchise.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We had a question right here by, I believe his name was Bill, Big Boy. At Crew, do you think Battlefield is pay to win? What I mean is that the guns they bring in with the DLC are too OP, so you have to buy the new maps to get good gameplay. Is it pay to win? I don't think so. Benemus is my favorite weapon, and it's not even Model 10 Hunter. That's the shotgun you said, right? Model 10.
The Hellfighter, but it's the equivalent of the trench shotgun.
97, something like that.
Yeah.
Both of and Mambo, you said your favorite weapon was, that was a DLC weapon.
And, and my favorite submachine gun is the MP18. And base players still have the Automatico.
Yeah, I don't think it's pay to win.
I think it's like you're getting something different, and you're getting killed with it a lot because people who have the DLC use it all the time because they wanted a different experience. So that kind of gets misconstrued as like, oh, this weapon is OP because I'm being killed with it a lot. I don't think so. I used to get killed a lot with the show shop when the French DLC came out. Nobody uses it now. Like they'd much rather use like the MG14 or the Perino or something along those lines because that's the new thing. is like, does that mean the Shoshaw was overpowered before and now they're just not
It
using
was
it
just different, you know,
no,
like you
it's
said.
just different.
Yeah. So moving on through questions because we're getting swamped with a lot of these awesome guys. Keep them coming. We have Slyer66 with, do you think they will bring back old Conquest back? Because now sometimes it's really frustrating losing games when in old system it would be clear win. I'm confused now what's old and new.
Did you talk about the scoring system?
Did they
of Conquest?
revert back to the old Conquest yet? Like, you guys play Conquest?
It's kind of like a weird hybrid. I liked it more when I played it. Like the tickets don't count down like they did before. They still count up, but it's the same general kind of effect.
So this is in effect now? In the base game, not CTE?
It's in the CTE.
Oh, it's not in base game yet.
I don't think it's been brought to the base game yet. Don't quote me on that, but I'm 90% sure.
Mambo, is the Conquest still the same as the first launch?
Yeah, as it has been since launch. But okay. I do find that the games are tighter lately because the people that are playing Battlefield are more, hardcore Battlefield people. Like the things that used to work when Battlefield 1 noobs used to be there. I call them Christmas nubs, because they get the game. More. I call them Christmas nubs because they get the game for Christmas, and then you get those people that are like oblivious to, hiding behind something. So, but it's still the same.
Yeah, I think, that's an interesting change that's coming soon. And
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I think it would be cool. Let's see, I think we had more questions here. Hold up. I'm just scrolling up because we missed them. We got we got SAS Q7. What do you think about behemoths at current state of the game? Are they a failed idea? SAS, I wish you... you know what? I need to figure out a table of contents that you guys could kind of look through our discussions, because we've had a very good in-depth discussion on behemoths once, and I like the idea of behemoths, but so many times they're implemented in weird ways. Like, Blimp is too weak. The train sometimes is East Jesus nowhere, like the fighting is here and the train's like, I'm over here doing something, like.
Yeah. I was really surprised. I mentioned that poll earlier, talking about behemoths, and it was tied with new modes. And I really thought behemoths were more popular than that. Like, I like them.
Shard 2C was cool.
It's fun to play against them, and it's fun to play inside of one. Like, I like them. I think it's real neat when you get a chance to do that. So I was surprised when they weren't that popular, but it's also something it keeps a server from dying. It's got some real, tangible.
How do you guys feel about this? I just had a random thought when it comes to behemoths. One of the things that sucks about behemoths is a lot of people don't get to play them. So what if you were inside a behemoth, you only got like 2 minutes, and then you got auto kicked? So someone else will drive it now. Is that?
I would like that, because I have used each behemoth a grand total of like 3 times. And that's it, because I never get a chance to go in there. It's also something, honestly, like, I'd much rather just be out of the thing and playing normal infantry type stuff. But whenever I want a chance to actually play it, I don't get that chance. And the same thing goes for elite kits a lot of the time. Like, I have to, like, lightning has to strike twice in the same place for me to find an elite kit that I can be like, oh, it's actually here. Let me pick that up and use it.
Yeah, and then half the time, it's like
happens.
Even an elite you don't want to play. Like, oh, it's a tanker here. All right, fine, I'll pick it up. I don't want to play a tanker. I wanted to play, like, maybe the SMG guy, the double SMG dude,
Yeah,
I think I would like to see them go to the route of like Star Wars Battlefront. You pick up a kit, you choose which one you want, have at it.
I do like that route. Maybe Battlefield will do something similar. I don't know. They might make it feel more arcadey. I don't know, because there was like some tactical type stuff, like getting to the elite kit first, to prevent the other team from getting it, or what. Yeah.
So that's our little take on behemoths. We did an in-depth thing. I don't want to go 100% in depth. Mambo, did you want to chime in?
No,
current state of behemoths.
I like the Shard 2C behemoth. Very fun. I haven't played in the blimp, you know, the, what do they call that? The,
Blimp is a death trap.
yeah.
Yeah, airship.
Bro,
Yeah, the
you can get
airship.
sniped out of it. I was
I
sniping
did
out
get like a
streaming.
40-man kill streak in the airship when it first Battlefield first came out on
Oh, dude,
Operations.
I did massive things with the noobs.
Yeah. But you know, since then I don't really get into it. I'm like Flakfire. I prefer to be out in the game and running and gunning.
I play a lot of operations unlike these guys, so I try to get the behemoth and focus fire wherever it needs to go, and I often see the behemoth just straight up get rocked.
Right.
So, we got Quit Urchin 44654 says, Akru, should there be any other BF games? Of course, why not? You know, should there be any other BF games? Yeah, please make it.
Yeah, we'll spit those right out. Yeah.
Dude, you know what I liked? I liked when they did 1943. You had a main title Battlefield, and then they took a little time off, and they're like, let's just make a $20 fun little Battlefield. I had a blast with it.
And you had air superiority in that. That was fun.
Dude, that was a great game. 1943, fun. I was level 50 on it.
That, and I liked the Bad Company Vietnam.
Yeah, but that was sort of DLC, because that was
It
Bad Company's
but
only
it
DLC.
felt like something different, you know. So
It was very different. Yes, had its own guns, had its own maps, had its own music, had its own everything. Even though
music, and that was awesome. That was cool.
Yeah, and its own setting. You know, you can kind of say that about the Russian DLC, for instance. It has its own everything, but I don't know. Because because in the Russian DLC you can bring the BF1 weapons to it, and you couldn't do that with the Vietnam one. Yeah, it was very interesting. I still say, you know, bring on something fun. Bring on something like Battlefield Middle Ages, bro. Make it a $20 funny little thing. I would so buy it. And make it Battlefield. Make it have Conquest. Make it have Rush or something. It'd be so cool.
Battlefield Hardline 2.
I don't. Hey, but make it a $20 hardline. Maybe. I don't know about making another $60 hardline, dude. You think they're gonna do that?
I honestly don't think so. I
thought it was a good game, but I don't think it warrants a sequel.
I like the campaign, and the campaign was fun. It was different. It was a little bit interesting. It was pretty cool.
The story for the campaign was great. That got me playing it. But the action and the AI was like playing a PS2 game.
I really liked the multiplayer gameplay in it. I know I am one of a few, but
yeah,
I thought it was good. It was good.
Skimming through these comments, just trying to see if we can catch up with everybody's comments, guys. I'm sorry. Akru's scoring system. Slayer66 just says scoring system, Akru. I don't know what to tell you, Slayer. It's in the game. I don't know. You have to make a question. A score. Skimming through these. We got Shadow. Oh wait, we got Medicine Man. You owe me a sub knife. Oh god. I would rather see Behemoths act as mobile spawn point. He did. That's Shadow Films. Mobile spawn point. They kind of already are.
But not really, because it's like you can only spawn in it when there's an open space. Like
there should be a space reserved for the guy who gets out.
Yep.
And that space is called the AA slot.
Yeah, it is pretty much, especially on the Dreadnought, and then you jump out of it out of bounds and drown.
No, you don't.
You don't want to
Dreadnought. When you jump out, you don't jump out of bounds.
If the Dreadnought is located outside of part of the map area, that will happen.
Really, dude? Because in operations, if you're in a Dreadnought, if you get out of a Dreadnought, it spawns you into the deploy screen.
Yes, that's interesting.
That happens in operations. So in Conquest, it spawns you outside in the water?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're swimming. I swam for like 10 minutes only to get shot on... I'm like, dude,
can you go back to it and press square and get inside?
I don't know. Probably not, because it's a behemoth, and as soon as it's available, somebody takes that slot.
Oh, dude, that is
Foul
hilarious.
Fortress. I was on Foul Fortress swimming for 10 minutes just to get shot. Oh.
You just hit the redeploy button at that point, I guess.
Yep.
I would have my thumb up looking for a hitchhike inshore.
All right, we got Dune Master 36. Akru, what is the worst gun for each class?
Ooh.
How about we'll task everybody with one. Flak, you take assault because you like playing assault. Mambo, you take medic since you like playing medic, and I'll take support. Worst guns.
12 gauge.
Oh yeah, that's a bad
12
shotgun.
gauge automatic.
Can you at least give us a loadout for it? Which one is the worst?
This is like knowledge base now.
The backboard?
If you're gonna use the 12 gauge, if for some weird reason you wake up in the morning and have a death wish, and you want to use the 12 gauge, you should use the extended one. Like, it's gonna walk up more, but it's like literally, it takes minimum 2 shots to kill somebody. So unless you've got extra magazine space
no, but we're talking about worst.
It's not
so
gonna
that's
work.
the good version of the.
Yeah, the other ones are like they're tied for being the
Oh,
worst.
just both trash. All right, Mambo, what you got, medic wise?
Medic, all the guns are pretty decent because they're single fire, but isn't there a medic gun where they load on top? Oh, you pull it back. It's
That's the level 10 one.
starter.
Steps the ladder, right?
The one where you have to pull the levers back and let go. It's horrible.
I like that gun.
Yeah,
And
if you can
and
kill
you're
one
saying
guy.
this- you're saying this as somebody who likes the Leo rifle.
No, but,
but the
Leo
Leo
rifle has the
rifle-
potential to kill 2. That gun has the potential to kill 1. That's
No,
it.
It's got potential to kill 2
Oh,
and then half a
headshots.
guy.
Headshots.
And that's it.
Okay, but then at that point, the Leo rifle can kill like 3. Headshots.
Right.
It's true.
Right.
It is better. Leo
So
rifle
that's
is better.
No.
And
Um,
the other rifle, where there's only 3 of us here today, and the other class that I play a lot, Scout. That crazy one where you put the clip on top. That's a quick reload. The 1903 or something like that. It's a sniper rifle that.
you mean
it
like the
shoots-
Russian one? That
It
shoots like.
really fast. No, it's
Oh, the experimental.
in the base. Experimental, horrible.
Pedersen device.
Horrible gun, yeah. Even the iron sight sucks. You ever see the iron sight? You can't
Yeah.
see anything.
There's a little.
It's
Yeah,
a big
dude.
ball. And
So
where's the
bad.
carrot? Yeah.
All right, and I'm gonna take away the last one, Dune Master, the worst support gun. Oh man,
I bet he was going to say my favorite.
hold on. This is a split one, cause I want to say the Hewitt is pretty bad.
Hewitt
it's
is
just-
terrible.
The
So
Hewitt
bad.
is long reload, terrible magazine, and not even that good accuracy. I don't care what people say, but I really do hate the Madsen.
You hate the Madsen?
I hate
Why?
it.
Why would you hate the Madsen when
Well, I
you're
don't know.
aiming like this?
Yeah. Cover up one eye, and if you have an eye patch because of some unknown reason, I'm sorry, man. You're just blind to it. Heaven forbid you have an eye patch because you lost your eye in the war. You know, like it's just God.
Because I think the
Ripperoni.
reason they cover that up with that clip, because if it didn't cover up with one clip, that gun would be OP.
I feel like I'm
Because-
playing with 10 FOV when I play with that gun.
Yeah. No, but imagine though if it didn't have the clip in front, if you got to see out of a wider field of view, I think that gun would be OP, dude. It really knocks down fast.
Yeah, but its accuracy stinks, and it's I
I
don't
don't-
know. I
I've had
hate
some
it.
good
I
runs
hate the
there.
Madsen. I hate
Just-
it.
Imagine how much hate there would be for the Madsen had DICE kept the original challenge for unlocking the MG14-17, because it was shoot down 2 airplanes with the Madsen.
Not even
You can't.
that. It was the
It's too small.
Madsen trench.
Yeah.
It was like take the worst Madsen, arguably, and yeah, use it to shoot down a plane. It was next level. We have a
That
next
would have
question.
been like top meme right there.
Yeah,
that would have
that's
become a
meme-worthy.
meme.
Mester78 with a question. We got, should they add Mauser rifle?
I would like to see them add the Lee Enfield.
I'm not familiar with this weapon.
Right. No,
Just
the not the Lee Enfield. The Enfield.
Springfield?
Is it the Springfield that I'm thinking of? The 1917, the one with the. No, I think it's the Enfield. I have to Google this.
While that, let's move on to the next question. We got one by Big Boy again. Big Boy in the Club. It's an interesting name. Big Boy in the Club. At Crew, what do you guys think the next Battlefield title will be? I think we get this question all the time, and I like to say it's going to be a modern title. We have some hopes.
I say Wishful thinking here for me is Korea.
Yeah,
Don't think it'll happen, but it
would be nice to be a Bad Company 3. And if you
No,
can
but
if you can make a Bad Company 3 in Korea, that's modern.
That's it.
Awesome.
That's what I'm saying. Bad Company 3, Korea or Vietnam, and it's a win.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
And make them a little grungy. Like now they've aged a little bit, you know. Like Metal Gear Solid, you know, like when he's super old now, it's like, oh cool, we're going Bad Company, but they're old now. I don't know. Just throwing stuff out there. Hewitt is awful. People are just talking in the chat now. Did I just catch up with everyone's questions?
I think so. And I figured it out. It is the Enfield 1917, the one that I was thinking of.
Right.
It's pretty cool. It's actually got a neat little rear sight on it instead of it being further down the rifle, which would make a neat sight picture. So that's the one my brain was thinking of, but
and that's not in the game
with the SMLE.
That's not in the game?
It is not in the game. Sad.
All right.
Well, that's weird.
Historian.
Maybe they're saving it for Apocalypse. Apocalypse is going to be an interesting DLC, guys. I have a good feeling about that one. I don't know what to expect a lot from this next DLC, because it's going to be a themed DLC, but Apocalypse is going to be like, oh man, this is all bets are off. This is just like the craziest things that are going on, and I have a feeling we're going to see some really cool stuff in that one. All right, guys, I got to say this will bring our podcast to a close. If you guys noticed, we're one man down. Izzy could not make it. He's actually like doing a 100,000 subs hype stream right now, and that's amazing. The fact that he's just hit that number, big shout out to our friend Izzy Gone Crazy. That being said, we will be back again. Now, however, Battlefield news is kind of slowed down, and we all kind of sat down and we feel that it would probably better for us and for us to just kind of come down and talk about these things, this podcast, kind of once a month. Being our schedules are kind of hard to manage, even right now when Izzy we couldn't have, and I like to have a podcast with everyone. I feel like that's been the key, bring us all together, and you guys as well. So we're looking at, instead of doing it every 2 weeks, we're gonna be jumping to a monthly podcast for the time being. Of course, you know, when things change, we'll keep you guys updated. If that changes, we'll ramp up again or whatever it is. I don't think this podcast was ever meant to be a weekly podcast. But you know, you don't know what the future holds, and I just want to throw it out there, guys, for you guys who've been watching this whole time. We are not going away anywhere. The one that we missed was I myself was at TwitchCon, and so we couldn't record and or stream. But moving on forward, we're looking forward to continuing this podcast and doing it at a monthly basis. Of course, it will be on iTunes. It will hopefully be on YouTube. Yeah, you guys are always welcome to join in the live recording at my channel. Any final thoughts, guys? You know what? Let's swing them your links and stuff. Where can they find you, Flak, if you're not sharing over here?
YouTube.com/Flakfire Gaming, and then over on Twitch, twitch.tv/Flakfire, and on Twitter for the dank memes. You can just type my name in there; it'll pop up.
Super dank memes, man. I enjoy your Twitter a lot. Mambo, where can these guys find you if you're not here?
Yeah, you guys are more than welcome to find me, Mambo_B on Twitch 6 days a week. But if you want to shoot me any questions, feedback, comments, I'm always reply back. I try to answer every tweet that I get on Twitter, Mambo_BEE. Brian Anthony is my name, at Mambo_BEE.
Awesome. And I'm your host, Ecolimits. That's spelled with a K, EKOLIMITS. You can find me on Twitch, spelled the same way. You can find me also on Twitter. I love using Twitter just like you guys. It's just a fun way to talk if you ever want to talk to me just randomly. Anything you're doing, Twitter is the way to go. But I'm a live streamer, so I stay on my Twitch quite often and play a lot of Battlefield. That being said, guys, I think we covered it. Of course, send us your emails. Twitch, it's at the Let's Talk Podcast at gmail.com. And I think episode 21's a wrap. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in a month's time. Hopefully all of us there.
Later.